Welcome to the Eating at a Meeting podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Stuckrath, dietary needs expert, certified meetings manager, certified food protection manager. I have searched the globe to find people and businesses who are creating safe, sustainable, and inclusive food and beverage experiences for their employees, guests, and communities. In each episode, you will find authentic conversations about how food and beverage impacts inclusion, sustainability, culture, community, health, and wellness. I know that sounds like a lot, but we're going to cover it all. Are you ready to feed engagement, nourish inclusion, and bolster your bottom line? If so, let's go.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the next to the last episode of Eating at a Meeting for 2024. I'm excited to bring you this episode, which I recorded while I was attending and speaking at IMEX America in Las Vegas. I decided to get tips from my friends and people I don't know on how to manage food and beverage at events. I don't know everything. Do you know everything? The more we can share our tips, the better off we can manage food and beverage. So this is a collection of tips from more than 20 people who are meeting professionals. And I love the ideas that I got from people who work for destination management companies, who are chefs, who are diversity, equity, and inclusion experts, wellness experts. Tune in and get some tips. And at the end, let me know what you think. The more we learn from each other, the better off we are in planning food and beverage experiences.
All right. So who are you?
Anna Williams with DMC Network.
And Anna, give me a tip that you would like people to know about food and beverage at events.
I would love for people to provide more low sodium options and make sure that they're labeled. The cardiac pandemic, high blood pressure pandemic, it's a big issue amongst people traveling, and it's one of the most difficult things I personally, as a heart patient, deal with. So it would be great to have more options.
Hi, I'm Thomas McKeown. I'm the executive chef at the Hyatt Regency Atlanta. So I think that getting to talk to the chef and understanding what's important to that chef and important to that hotel, if they can showcase what they do best, it'll always be best for your guests.
Hi, I'm David T. Stevens, wellness architect at Olympia Meeting. My one tip for managing food and beverage at a meeting or event is put a disclaimer in your RFP that says, if the food and beverage macronutrients in your banquet menus doesn't meet our attendees' requirements, we reserve the right to supplement the menus or sets. Now, that's why this is important. Two things will happen. One, you'll get to bring in the things that you want to have, mini beef jerky, protein bars, things of that nature, and you won't have to pay $15 or $20 a piece for this. Or two, you will start a honest and sincere and clear dialogue with not only just you and your convention services manager, but also you and the chef, so that you can ensure that your group's nutritional needs are met.
Stay in close contact with the group contact because attendees vary, and so does everything else that's associated with food and beverage. So keep close.
Emily Bell with Hotels and Resorts. My number one tip for meeting planners when thinking about the food and beverage, just remember it's also about the experience. So when you're planning a meal or anything, think about how it grabs people's attention, how maybe give them delight in the middle of their day or at the beginning, even at the end. Something to kind of enjoy, not just for the pleasure of eating, but also for the experience.
All right. So Tracy, my name is Gaspar. I work for ProSure Audiovisual. We're a company based out of Vancouver. We are the official vendor at the Vancouver Convention Center, amongst other things. And your question is, what should we know about food for the crew at a meeting? Well, it is very important to remember that staff are human beings that do need to eat and that need to be treated well to perform a great show. It's also important for clients who do that, who have an event once a year and put a lot of effort into their one event, that when they don't sleep, when they only sleep maybe a couple or 4 hours a night, our crew does that every day. They do this for that specific client's show, and they repeat that the very next day for another show. So keeping them well fed is highly important. We actually have a rule, not a rule, where we ask our clients that if our team cannot leave their station So we ask our clients for the team to be fed if they can't leave their station. If they have less than half an hour to eat, we ask for them to be fed. If they have a full hour, then they can leave their station, do whatever they want, bring their own food or go to the food court next door, and that's absolutely fine. If they don't have that specific time, it's important for them to eat. And not it has to be something nice too. It has to be healthy, something that will bring them enough energy to go to a show, because sometimes the cruise starts at 5 a.m. and the show ends at 10 or 11 p.m., depending on the days and the shows. So I'd say that if you want your show to go well, it's important to take really good care of your people, and your people include the AV.
Tracy and everyone out there, I'm Jacqueline Bernstein, and I'm president and owner of EventProfs Events. We are New York City's locally owned destination magic in New York City.
Jacqueline, you plan all kinds of events. So what tips do you have on coverage of those events?
Well, managing goes in two directions. We'll start production coordination and on-site management. So for us, when we're working with caterers, meet venues, or from caterers or recipe, public-private events, that we feel that caterers and all those venues and restaurants let us know, besides just sending us their menus, we know everything is good, beautifully presented. Let us know what the chef won an award for. Let us know what got the recipe from his grandma, whatever that may be. Again, we know menus are great. That's why you're in business. Our catering, but tell us what we should be focusing on for our event, special for our guests, and they might not have forgotten anywhere else before.
All right, James, give me a tip on managing food and beverage at events.
I think it's important to have fun with food. I think one of the most things that people enjoy is to have creativity in what they do and to create a memorable experience. One of the things we did this year at IMEX was take people's personalized photos and print them on cookies. So now it also tastes good.
So what's your name?
Hi, Joanne Ireland with Ireland Presentations.
And Joanne, what is one tip that you have for managing food and beverage at events?
I think it's really looking at the crowd and knowing what the diverse cultural differences are, making sure that I have enough food to cover everybody, the vegetarians, the vegans, any kosher meals and what have you, and not overdoing it.
Joe Capone, Canvas Meetings and Incentives. I would have to say making sure that I have the accurate guarantee of attendees that will be eating every meal.
Hi, Kate Jansen from the Raleigh Convention Center.
All right, Kate, what one food and beverage tip do you have for other planners?
Yeah, to make an impact when you're thinking about your food and beverage. Find a way to tell a story, but also make a change in the location that you're at. Feature local chefs, use local food and beverage, source it as local as you can, but then give it back when you're done. Find a way to donate that back to the local needs, whether that's a food bank or a food shelter, might be right down the street from where your meeting's being held.
Making sure that you're keeping up with current trends, how everything looks, how the buffet table is. Are you still clouding the tables? Are you using the newest, latest, China glass and silverware? And then making it unique and different from your competitors. What are the newest, hottest trends that you're looking for in food? And then obviously making sure that there is enough diversification of food to accommodate all of your guests.
I'm Lynn Crane and I work for REI.
And Lynn, what is one tip that you would give other planners when planning food and beverage at your events?
Oh, when planning food and beverage, I think the one that comes to mind is to minimize food waste. What I always tell my vendors and what I have impart on attendees is I want the last person at a buffet to really feel like they're the last person. I want them to be scraping and looking for options and understand that they are not leaving a ton left to figure out where that is going and lots of waste being produced.
I'm Masha Sharp from Song Division. Firstly, making sure there's enough for everybody. And secondly, making sure that everyone's dietary needs are met. Something for everybody that they can eat and consume and be fed and nourished and satisfied.
So my tips for F&B is always order flavor water. Always ask the venue to do fresh fruit or mints, different type of flavor water. It's the most budget-friendly way that create a big impact.
All right, so tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Sophia Lincano. I'm National Director of Creative with Access DMC.
Sophia, tell me one tip that you have around food and beverage at events.
Yeah, so from the creative perspective, we're always trying to encourage people to think about that guest experience to enhance and make that food and beverage opportunity at the event even better. So we always look at opportunities to bring signage and also pinpoints, big destinations that are creative with that sign of where the food is for guests to find it. So they're not searching all the way through the event, all over the floor to find your bars and your food. You can kind of wave to them, hey, over here, we've got some bars. Hey, over here, we've got some food, whether that be an Air Star that's branded, maybe even a tall palm tree, maybe it's even lighting or gobo. But that's just what I would say makes the creative experience really enhanced and with your food and beverage.
Hi, Tammy Moore with PCMA Event Leadership Institute. One tip I have for managing food and beverage is to absolutely make sure that you have all of the allergens listed on your food, no matter what they are. That is so important to those that need to be aware of everything that they're eating or possibly might want to eat so that they stay safe and healthy and you don't have a big problem on your hands. So make sure you're working on that one.
My name is Zoe Moore. I am a strategic equity, diversity, and inclusion consultant with Moore Consulting Agency. And my one tip for managing food and beverage at an event is to understand your audience. Do the research on their preferences and their restrictions so that they can have a wonderful experience at your event.
Okay, so what'd you think? That was more than 20 tips. You know, they were about sustainability and dietary needs and managing our numbers, knowing who's coming to our events, healthy, managing salt and the ingredients in what we're serving. Lots of a variety of different tips that you learned. What did you learn? Did you get any ideas for your next event? What tips do you have? Please share them in the comments below because, as I said earlier, the more we can learn from each other, the better we are in planning events for our attendees. So until next time, stay safe and eat well, and Happy New Year.
Thanks for listening to the Eating at a Meeting podcast, where every meal matters. I'm Tracy Stuckrath, your food and beverage inclusion expert. Call me and let's get started right now on creating safe and inclusive food and beverage experiences for your customers, your employees, and your communities. Share the podcast with your friends and colleagues at our Eating at a Meeting Facebook page and on all podcast platforms. To learn more about me and receive valuable information, go to tracystuckrath.com. And if you'd like more information on how to feed engagement, nourish inclusion, and bolster your bottom line, then visit eatingatameeting.com.